What's going on? It's Miss Cool tonight. I got some tears in my eyes. Thought I'd come on here and talk a little bit. I like that light bulb. It's not easy sometimes. Life goes by pretty quick, don't it? Just thought I'd come on and share some feelings. Like when I was a waitress. It wasn't so easy, you know? We had days where we had to live on our tips. Yeah, being a waitress is very different. You make $2.13 an hour, you know? I like Donald Trump said no taxes on tips anymore. Back in the day when I was a waitress in the 80s, I made about $30 or $40 in change. And about $50 or $60 in ones, fives, tens, and $2 bills. You have to save your money, you know? Pay your rent and do things. I had a really cool boss. I remember when I was pretty poor, single mother. They paid my electric bill. I paid them back. Took a little bit out of my check. Those days were very hard for me, but I survived it, you know? I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. There's a lot of things that happen in the restaurant, you know? I've just been thinking about my life, you know? Miss Cool met a lot of men that never stood up for me. They only had moments they did. Had to leave my husband because he drank too much. People that drink every day, some of them are very nice. Sad part was my husband was nice. You know, a lot of alcoholics don't hit you. But it's a slow deterioration in a relationship. That your needs aren't met. Starts out real small, doesn't it? When you're with an addict or someone like that. I come on here and like to talk about things. When I was a waitress, you know. When I worked real hard raising my children. It's kind of weird to pay your rent in ones, fives, and tens. I had a picture once of it. It was pretty cool. You look back at your life, a lot of people don't want to share their life experiences, and that's okay. But I do. I share them. There's a lot of stories that happen in restaurants, you know. After you people come and eat and we wait on you and you walk away full and feel pretty good. And if you don't get a good meal, isn't that awful? I made sure you got a good meal. And still today I make sure if I cook for somebody, you get a good meal. It's just something we do, waitresses do, you know. There's good and there's bad and everything in there. One time when I was waitressing, you know what they did? Some of the waitresses were mean. Why, they went in the bathroom and were real busy. And they put salt on the rim of the toilet. Sounds real funny, doesn't it? Till you sit on it and don't see it. That's why they did it, so you wouldn't see it. Oh, yeah. And then the back of your legs would itch, you know, on your butt, on the sides where you sit. I've seen a lot in the restaurant. I used to wait on all kinds of people. Rich people, poor people. You learn a lot, don't you, in a restaurant? You learn a lot about people, you know. Miss Cool had to learn a lot. If you have to make money, you have to be real nice, you know. People are hungry. So I ended up being pretty nice that way. You learn to talk a lot. You can change your personality slightly. Depends on who you're waiting on, of course. I met a lot of people. Now that I don't waitress anymore, some people, it bothers I talk a lot. I love to talk to people I don't know. For the most part, it's wonderful. My daughter gets a big kick out of it. She says, "Why, Mom, you could talk to anybody." It's just something you learn to do, you know? Something you have to do, sort of. But it ends up being organic. It ends up being wonderful when you talk to people and you're kind and you don't know them. Most of the time you get the same reaction back. For me, in life, that's how it was. But then when you leave the restaurant and you get older, people somehow can't understand how you can have a gift like that, how you can talk to others. Like I said, my daughter says, "Mom, you can talk to anybody." It's offensive to some other people when you're with them. Some people, it drives them crazy. "Well, you can talk to everybody." Well, listen, there's times I don't want to talk to everybody, but there's times when I want to. Can I be me? Most of the people I talk to, my daughter gets a kick, like I said. There was a lady walking down the street when we went shopping at a little TJ Maxx. I said, "You see that lady right there, Jamie?" She looked about 70-ish, almost 80. I said, "Do you see her? I bet she bakes bread every day." She goes, "Really, Mom? You do this all the time." "Just something you have. People have gifts." I said, "Pull up to her." So she was walking across to put her bag in her car. Believe it or not, folks, that's what I do sometimes. I said, "Don't you bake bread? I don't know you." She goes, "I do sourdough every week." My daughter goes, "Mom, I can't believe it. This isn't something you brag about. This isn't something I'm doing on here. If you're judging me and saying, 'Oh, she's a narcissist,' or whatever you want to do, it's gifts that people have." Well, I didn't know when she walked up to the window that she actually did bake bread. It was kind of a guess, but I knew something about her when I looked at her. It's what happens when you wait on a lot of people. You get to know people. You get a feeling, you know? So it was fun. I videoed her. I haven't put her on my YouTube, I don't think. Or maybe I did. But I'm back to talking about when you've been a waitress. Sometimes it's a college, you know? A college for people. It's not a real college or school, but you learn a lot. I've had terrible waitresses in my life. I'm a real good waitress. Just talking and having that warmth. Things have changed in the world, haven't they? Everybody's in a big hurry. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of places to go eat anymore. Me and my daughter like to go to In-N-Out. Seems to be consistent and the same. But it's kind of like people, you know? And then you can kind of go back in your own situations with people in your life. Neighbors. People you meet. I always refer to them as some of the people I've waited on. Some of the people were a lot like the people I know now. You just know. You get a feeling, you know? But it's a wonderful thing to at least know, to be real in the moment. One day this lady came in and it was snowing. We had windows around the restaurant that were wrapped around. And it was part of the day where there wasn't anybody. And here she came. Well, she was older. She looked scruffy and she came in. Now this is one story of many. And she come in. Hold on, let me get a drink. And she came in and nobody wanted her. So I took her. They have these little booths that take two people. Little deucey booths, they call them. She sat in the back. And it was about 11:45. And we had a breakfast menu. And at 12 it flips to lunch. And then a dinner menu. You know, different times they want to cook things. And of course, Miss Cool didn't get along with all the cooks. So she wanted a turkey avocado sandwich for $4.75. And they were delicious in this restaurant where I worked for Greeks. So I said, okay. Went back, cook didn't want to do it. It was almost 12 o'clock. Wasn't anybody in the restaurant. He could have done it. He said, no. I says, come on, make the turkey avocado sandwich, please. See, a lot of people, when they're in restaurants, don't know what goes behind in the back. So I says, okay. I went and talked to the boss. The boss said, make her the sandwich. So by the time he made the sandwich for me, I took it out to her. Well, it was $4.75. And I gave her the ticket and walked away, and she said, come back. She had me a $20 bill. She said, keep the change. And I looked at her and I thought, why would I keep the change? She said, yeah, I dress like this because the Greyhound bus behind here, I don't want people to know I have money. I left my husband, he's a banker. I says, well, thank you very much, ma'am. So you just never who you're waiting on. Like a book, don't judge it by the cover. Could be a good book. But different stories happen, you know. You learn a lot. But there's a lot of stories to tell, not just about being a waitress. There's a lot of stories to tell about how you meet people, where you go, how you feel. A lot of people use the term vibe. It is a vibe. You can feel when somebody wants to talk or smile or look at you. I like nice people. Some people are hurting, and that's why they're kind of mean and bitter. They don't want to share a smile. They don't want to have joy with you. Those are the people that are sad. They're suffering. I'm 68 years old, and I can pretty much feel it. Sometimes it bothers me when people are overly happy or they overly want to talk to you, and you want to just check out of the store, and they just keep rattling on and on. But it's okay. I think it's great that bosses teach people that are employed to say, hello, how are you? Welcome. It's okay. If you don't want to answer, you can kind of turn your face. But I like the welcome, don't you? Isn't it wonderful to be welcomed? I like it. You heard people on phones, how they answer, how they talk? I think before you own a phone, you ought to take a little class. It's okay to say hello. It's okay to know I'm not in a real good mood, so I'll text you. It's okay to know I don't need to yell at you. Be kind to people on the phone. I catch myself all the time. Because in 2025, in the last 5 years, it's just awful for people that are older like me. You get on the phone and they say, okay, what department? What's your problem? All these recordings. It's just awful. And you can't even get out of it. You're like in this maze. You push 0. I think I'll trick the keypad. I think I'll trick it. I think I'll finally just go, talk to a customer, talk to a person. But wait a minute, is it concerning a bill? I'll ask you again. You know, you can do this online. I want to talk to a real person. I want to talk to a real person. Finally, you get to the real person, and you know what I've done? You have asked me so many questions. What do I want? Well, I don't know, ma'am. Well, all those questions that you were asking until I talked to a real person, did they just do that so you could answer a lot of calls? It's really ridiculous. But I do understand there's options in life. Isn't there? There's plenty of options, choices. And I guess you just have to learn patience, don't you? A lot of people don't have patience. You know what's kind is when others know you don't have patience and they wait a minute, especially if they're getting paid to wait. Just take your time, take a breath, breathe. If you're one of those people, thank you. If you're not, you make things worse. It's a good day today, isn't it? It's a real sad world we're living in. The plane crashes, all the fighting, all the racial discriminations, all the people fighting over land still. I don't know where Native people want me to go. My whole family fought for this country. They said I was a lot like my uncle, my father's brother. We were singers. Well, I am a singer, but I don't know why people think the way they think. Colonialists, George Washington, they're talking about the guys with the white hair, how this is terrible and it was the natives' land. I'm not a racist, but give me a break. I can't even, I just don't get it. I'm not bowing down to these people. I'm not bowing down to nobody. And if they don't expect me to bow, I'm sure getting some mixed signals here. People fighting over what's going on over there. The Jewish hostages being brought home. The Gaza. All this stuff. Both sides have been murdered and killed and hurt. So I guess you can go back to who started it and why people are acting that way. But at the end of the day, everybody can be wrong. And everybody can be right. We got to live through this, folks. All I know, as most of the times in my life, since I've read the Bible and know so many, many stories, I just go straight to that. I don't even have to go straight to it. It's kind of like right here in my heart. You meet people that don't know their parents, don't have a real last name. Well, neither did Moses. They found him in the river. They knew who he was by his blanket. It was red and black, an Israel blanket. People have been fighting a lot of years. Back to the Bible. If you believe in it. I don't know. I tell people if you can't meet God in 66 books, you might have some issues. If you need more books, go for it. If you don't believe, that's okay too. But don't try to tell me I can't believe and choose what I want. Maybe that's the connection. Being a waitress, you get to choose. There's a lot of options on the menu. And if you don't know, I'll suggest something. Isn't life easier when it's smooth and wonderful and nice? Like a hot apple pie with a big scoop of sweet vanilla ice cream? Pie a la mode? Isn't it nice in winter when you can have a hot cup of cocoa steaming? This real chocolatey, not watered down with whipped cream? Of course it's wonderful. Of course it's wonderful to have a stack of pancakes with butter dripping. Of course it's wonderful, a waffle, a steak, wonderful halibut with beautiful tartar sauce, bread and butter, not just bread and butter, but good bread from a bakery down the street. These are the things that are wonderful. To enjoy someone's company, a real friend you can trust and love, those things are rare. If you have friends that love you and that are kind, and many of them, be thankful. Some people don't have that blessing. But if you can connect with a few people, sing with them, laugh with them, cry with them, that's wonderful. Always know that. Have a wonderful night. It's Miss Cool talking about being a waitress and some of my different feelings about communication, the story behind the story, why some people, it bothers them when I talk a lot or have friends or people I don't know and I can talk to. It's not even a lonely gab. It's not someone that's like, oh, I just need to take your time. It just flows like music. It flows when you first write a song. It flows when you have a melody. It flows. It's comfortable when it flows and you're accepted and loved. And you have to accept and love yourself. But in that moment, it's not about that. Will you accept me? It feels so natural and wonderful that you just do it. You know? So have a wonderful night. And the peace in your life is precious. Enjoy your peace. Accept others that maybe don't want to talk to you, or when you meet them, family, just let go. Kind of like this when you have two fists. Just open your hands. Just like that. Open your hands. Let it go. It's mystical. peace within yourself, will you? Enjoy the moments of your life.